Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the co-op family, Mad Gamer, myself, and we got Cloudy. What's good, Cloudy?
What up, Mag?
Chilling, chilling. We're about to get into this topic. We have Suicide Squad's Kill the Justice League playing in the background, right? And me and you played some of the closed beta. I think we played the closed beta. They allowing people to talk about the closed beta now too. So legally, we're covered. They just recently said, "Hey, you can talk about it now." That being said, I want to hear what is your thoughts about this experience. As you guys know, we do a lot of co-op, and I will be covering this game with Cloudy. February 2nd, the game releases about a week and a half from now. I'm just curious to see what Cloudy's thoughts are on his experience, and then we got some other topics like some story stuff and then comparison stuff later we'll get into. But for now, tell me what's your experience with this game, man.
I actually love the game, bro. I had a really good time with it. I was a little bit thrown off by it because I was like, oh, wait a minute, like it's gonna be just a shooter. How are they gonna play this off? Because typically we're known for, playing like superhero games of like, beating up bad guys and kind of going through some type of story, but they actually did a really good job with it being a shooter, kind of, right?
I agree with that, by the way.
I like the fact that every character you decide you want to play, one, they do a really good job with like the upgrades and stuff as far as weapons and abilities and stuff like that. So you unlock that as you progress. But they also do a good job with the fact that every character is kind of different. And they all have different styles. So like,
who's your main, by the way? Who's your main before you continue?
Who's your main is Deathstroke. So I love Deathstroke for the simple fact is because he can actually, because he has jetpacks, he has the ability to actually kind of hover in the air. And while you're hovering in the air with your jetpack, you can actually throw bombs. You can shoot them while you're hovering and still move. And you can use your jetpack to kind of move side to side and kind of dash side to side kind of in the air still. So he's a lot more free flowy. He has a lot more freedom.
Free flowy. We need to coin this term.
I use that word a ton, but
could we coin that? Are we gonna trademark that? Free flowy.
It's free flowy.
Free flow. Where did you get that from? What's the question?
It's free flowing. I guess
free flowing. Okay.
Free flowing. So my thing is that I like the way that character plays. Of course, you have other brutes. So you have the shark that he actually, like, if you charge up his jump, he jumps really high, right? And he can kind of get across the map pretty easily with that, and because he can actually kind of swim as he's in the air. So he has a little bit of a different technique with jumping across buildings. Harley Quinn has a grapple. Who else? Boomerang, I think he has.
Boomerang's my favorite right now.
Yeah, what does he have again? I believe
Boomerang has a boomerang, dude. What do you mean? For this, he teleports with his boomerang. First of all, secondly, he can use his boomerang as a melee. Instead of running up to somebody, he can throw. So he's one of the few characters that can actually throw his melee. So that's how you can charge up easily with him. There's a charge up ability, which I think is an awesome thing, where you don't got to worry about getting your health. You can do it by combat, by taking somebody out, being aggressive. So it makes it more fun for me, as far as like I'm in the fight the whole time. I don't want to have to go, let me go heal up, I'll be back, I'll call you tomorrow, call me later. It's like, yo, let me play the game and let me destroy somebody and get health off that. Yeah. So I love that. But yeah, go ahead.
So that's what I would say. I love the character designs. I love the fact that they all play different. I feel like what I need to see a little bit more is a little bit more like enemy archetypes. And I feel like we'll get more of that when the game releases. Because
we're watching some right now. You've never seen this before, right, Claudia?
No, yeah, I've seen bits and pieces. So what I would say is this, right?
You did not see this. This just came out. This is brand new. This shout out to the PR team.
So I would say this. As far as the game, right? They do have certain elements to the game where the game is gonna bring a lot of nostalgia, right? It's gonna give you a lot of depth, like storylines, back storytelling. about the Justice League. So Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, like Green Lantern, like all these characters. The Flash is in there too. So you have all these superheroes that end up becoming villains. Not to spoil it, but they end up becoming villains,
Spoiler.
and you end up facing off in certain aspects of the story where you have to. Your whole job is to defeat the Justice League.
Yeah.
And
First of all, spoilers ahead for anything that we played in the closed beta, guys, or in the game. We haven't played a lot of it, so we can't talk much, but assuming stuff. But we can also talk about what we talked about. Spoilers ahead, so just a quick fact so Cloudy can unleash anything he got to say. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so what ends up happening is that you're being told, because you're being programmed, you have bombs in your head. And she ends up putting bombs in your head for a reason, because she wants to control you. She wants you to do what she says. Her job, her mission for you, in order for you to become free, is to kill the Justice League. Thing is that the way they make it seem is like you're killing the Justice not because they're bad people, it's because they're corrupt. So you have a corrupt Batman, you have corrupt, Green Lantern. You face off against some of these guys as you're playing through the story. One of the particular scenes that's memorable to me is the Batman scene, where you face off against Batman.
Oh man!
And that scene just highlights what's going to be so great about this game, because if they continue to do what they've shown in that aspect alone, this game's going to have a lot of amazing things to show off. And that's Definitely. What I would say. I feel like honestly that alone is giving me so much hope that this game is actually going to be really good. And not only that, but I had a ton of fun with this thing. So I'm actually looking forward to it. I will be playing it, me and Mag included. We will be going through the story.
We'll have some videos on here, breaking some stuff down and going on a mission or two, getting crazy with it.
Yeah, so it's
Cloudy, I'm going to try to revert on that conversation. First of all, I agree with Cloudy, but we are Batman fans. So, and the DC is something we've been into. So we're excited to kind of have that explored, is what Cloudy's explaining. But I will say, and this is where the second part of this topic where we're going to get into, and Cloudy got a lot to say about this, but I was just wondering, and my thoughts, I got to be careful, Cloudy might shoot. I was just wondering and thinking out loud, Cloudy, about the fact that like nothing ever overshadows Batman Arkham. And let me speak before you go crazy. Nothing will ever overshadow Batman's Arkham. It's something about it that kind of we hold near and dear, we protect regardless. I will say the Spider-Man games to me are right there. They have only 3 right now, and they're so amazing, and they surpassed Batman Arkham in some ways, in some combat ways, and certain things that they did that were special. I absolutely still adore Batman. I think it's like right there. You can argue first or second with me. I don't have like an opinion on that, like just giving you one fact. But I'm saying that to say like modern games are important, and this game is shadowed. It's in the shadow of Batman, and they all say, "Oh, it's the same studio. Oh, why didn't they just make a Batman game?" Now, here's my counter to that, and then I could have you speak because I know you got a lot to say. My counter is that the Suicide Squads is a looter shooter co-op game. Looter shooters are basically you trying to get loot to upgrade your character, maximize the best playstyle for you. And then, shooters, Batman's not a shooter at all. Like, he don't even have a gun. Like, so that's my defense for this game. And I know we're going to do a little quick comparison, and I want you to kind of give me your opinion. This is a little deeper down the rabbit hole. Could have been its own video, but we're going to throw it in here as far as like, what is your thoughts putting this game next to the Batman series?
So I will say this, right? Is very similar. So you got a game that innovated in so many ways, who brought a different type of combat to gaming, right? And it was so well done that a lot of studios started to implement that in their games, right? I think similar to God of War, when God of War started doing those call to actions in their scenes, in their action scenes, right? In their cinematic scenes. And a lot of studios started trying to implement that too, because it was so well done and people loved it, right? The combat was so well done with Batman, and the storyline with the Joker and the way that he's portrayed in the Arkham games was so well done, and also including voice acting, because you have to include that in it because it was memorable. Like that the Joker and Arkham was so memorable to the point where I don't see a replacement for that. It brings me back to a time of like the trilogy for Batman, the movies, right? With you know,
Christopher
with the
Nolan.
Joker, right? Yeah, with Christopher Nolan and the Joker, right? That like there's nothing to me personally that's gonna top those three Batman movies, and especially the one with the Joker, because that Joker's probably the best played Joker ever, and that's kind of what you get with video in the video game space of with the Batman series, right? You're kind of getting that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very hard to top, and that's why it's always a lot of games are always gonna kind of be in the shadows of that until Rocksteady decides to say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and make another Batman game, and we're gonna get the original voice actors, and we're gonna get this going, and we're gonna do the stuff that we need to kind of get this next title up, right? But the thing is, it takes a lot of commitment from voice actors as well to kind of participate in that, to allow that to happen. So as far as this game overthrowing that, I don't see it. And one of the biggest reasons for it is because it's very difficult to get into depth and the lore of an actual character when you're portraying it in a multiplayer space.
Yeah, especially because Cloudy likes to freaking skip a cutscene and talk over it the whole time, and you don't even let me watch him.
I do, but the thing is that they're gonna show you cutscenes of their mission, or maybe their friendship along the way, or stuff like that. But they're not gonna, it's very hard to get the depth of, like, Batman is very loved, right? And Spider-Man kind of did the same thing. You have the death of his father and his mom, right? He's he's an orphan, right? And he ends up being this billionaire because of his parents, and you end up finding all that. Of course, we know it because of the comics, and it's been talked about over and over again, but they get to show different sides of it, and especially in the video game space when they're sitting there talking about their life, right? Their childhood, you see how they grown up, how they become
you sympathize.
So you sympathize, and you start to learn more and more about the character, because they're only talking about one character for 30 hours. 40 hours. Right now, you're talking about a multiplayer game that doesn't have the time to do that. And not only that, even if they had the time to tell you the story, they're not going to be able to display it in the way that a single player game about one character is going to be able to be displayed over time. It's not going to happen. Like you have Spider-Man. Spider-Man is another game that did very well, and they portrayed it very well. Thing is, you got all these movies, you got all the comics, but then when they brought it into the space that is in now, when Insomniac took over and they actually created the first Spider-Man, the second one with Miles Morales, and they show that depth with the character design of Peter Parker, and then Miles Morales and his family, and Peter Parker's family and his love life and all this stuff. And then you got the second Spider-Man 2 where he talks, you're facing off against these villains, but then you realize how he's kind of this normal boy or man that's trying to find his way in the normal society of life, trying to pay his bills, and you sympathize with all that, the losing of a family, of trying to get through the struggle of trying to figure out how to pay your bills, of trying to figure out your love life, and all this stuff is portrayed within the story, within those series, right? You're not going to be able to get that in a multiplayer game. It's right. Too many characters, too many depth to each character. Each character has their own particular story, and you're not going to be able to get it that way. That's why X-Men has amazing characters, but they chose Wolverine because, one, he's probably the most popular, but also because he has probably the most depth for a character. Right. And that has been portrayed over the comics, over the longevity of the X-Men. He's probably the most controversial, and he's probably one of those that you can show why he is how he is, and have people sympathize with that because he has such an amazing upbringing, and that's why he is chosen to
I feel you.
have his own
I want
game.
to counter what you're saying.
But if you was to, like, an example, if you was to take X-Men and try to come up with a game that's X-Men, right? Not Wolverine, but X-Men, you won't be able to get the depth in the story the way you would want to in a multiplayer X-Men game that you would if you used to take Wolverine out of X-Men and say that we're gonna make a story about you. And that's
I won't disagree with what you're saying,
games,
but check this out.
But let me tell you. So that's why these games like Suicide Squad and Gotham City struggle to overshadow that, to overcome that. That's the biggest reason, and that's why.
No, I can't disagree with that. But what I will say is this: I'm going to counter the exact argument and say that if you want the biggest character arc, the biggest sympathizing with a character, when you go co-op with somebody you consider your brother, your best friend, that is the best story that you could get in real life while you're playing the video game. So you're gonna get the storyline in a way. You're playing as superheroes surviving in the open world, you know, in the fights. And so you basically get that, you watching them grow up, you get to see every part of their lives, and then you play a video game and you get to enjoy yourself. So that's what I'm feeling, and I feel like this is going to be a very fun co-op. I feel like I wish everybody I know gets it, and everybody's like, yo, jump on, you know, and they're willing to be open-minded to try something different and have some fun with this on that level, while being able to get the nostalgia like you were talking about, where I did when the Batman scene came, like it really was powerful for me. And I was so excited. I'm like, man, I got to see more of this game. Like that alone made me say I really want to explore more as well. But then there's the RPG looter side where I'm getting these new weapons, I'm getting these upgrades. All that stuff was cool too, because then it's like I'm gonna make a specific play style. I'm gonna make myself stronger. And then co-oping with you is like, all right, let's go over here. Can we do this? And let's try this. And then who's going to get the most kills? There's a scoreboard and all that stuff. Who's scoring the most in the game? So we have a lot more fun doing things like that as well. I don't want to be thinking about, is this better than Batman or is this better than Spider-Man? This is the reason we're bringing this up now, is to let it go for the viewers and say, hey, let it go. We're going to focus on having a good time. You know, it's like you break up with somebody, and instead of moving on and trying to find love, you're comparing everybody to that person you used to be with. And it's like, they're not there no more. This is a whole new world, a whole new day. You're a different age. You're in a different time in your life. Love that person for who they are, what they're doing, and who they become for you, versus, oh, let me just compare them to the person I used to be with. So that's how I feel. And I don't disagree with everything Cloudy said. I actually agree with it. And he's not even wrong about the narrative base and how to do it. So hopefully we'll be able to cover Wolverine. But don't worry, Spider-Man's going to have co-op on the next game, Cloudy. And then we're going to see what you got to say about that.
Yeah, but the thing is that you already have a story built on each character. So if we were to go in co-op in a game like that, there's no character development that really needs to be had, because they already did it within the last 3 titles. You have a whole game based on Miles Morales. You have a whole game based on Peter Parker. Then you have a whole game based on their relationship together. So it's like you're not really cutting anything out. So if they was to do a co-op game where me playing as Peter Parker and you playing as Miles Morales, it's not gonna affect it in that way, because we already had those games that already dived in those stories, right? Yeah. So we're talking about it from 2 different perspectives, because now we're talking about a game like the Suicide Squad that has Shark, that has Deathstroke, that has all these other characters. But in order for you to really know the depth about them, if it's not portrayed properly, you have to read the comics. You have to go, look at some of the movies that were made. And then even then, you probably still won't even you'll probably get glimpses, but you're not going to get a full picture, because like a lot of those characters never had their own movie or their own sequel. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So
hey, Harley Quinn did,
yeah. But what I'm saying is that it's not to the same effect as far as like Shark. You're still playing as Shark. You're still playing as Deathstroke. You're still playing. He's
actually awesome character. We've been watching him this whole time, and it is phenomenal the stuff he could do. I didn't see some of the finishers. I didn't see everything in the game, right? But I played as him. But Finally seeing some of these finishers and seeing some of his combinations, I'm like, yo, this guy is fire, though. There's a lot of dope.
But I'm glad you like Boomerang, bro. Don't take Deathstroke, bro.
Boomerang is the man, bro, because you'll see when I the way I play, where I can pick up health anytime I want from far away. Unlike you have to go towards a person and stuff, I believe, to So
yeah, I do.
We'll see.
You do.
But we'll see. It's gonna be a fun time for all of us. I think I'm gonna get deep into it. We're gonna cover it. We just wanted to kind of give the honest opinions of where we thought. And again, like I said, I'm not sure of the story. Just like Cloudy, we're just guessing here on what it could be. What if they do go backwards and they show Shark? He grew up in a fish tank or something, and he's like, and now you got to see him turn into.
Not much to tell there, bro. He was in a fish tank.
He was in a fish tank. He became a mutant. He got tested on, and then he escaped, and then freaking he went to save his fish wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the mermaid. Yeah,
the mermaid. All that. You know, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think either way, it's gonna be fun co-oping at least.
Yeah,
and we look to have more games throughout the whole year. This is gonna come out February 2nd. We'll have coverage of that all year.
Yeah, and I actually love the fact that we're actually getting games that are actual based on co-op, because, you know, as you guys know, this channel CoBroOps is meant for you guys that are watching. We'll talk about our experiences with games, but we also, you know, we want to cover a lot of the like multiplayer co-op aspect of video games. Of course, we got a lot of single players. We got multiplayer games like shooters and stuff like that, but this is more for like action adventure games and like co-op games where you can actually say, yo, you know, if you have a friend, one or two, you say, yo, that, you know, get on and, you know, let's go ahead and let's beat the story real quick. And you know, I feel like they're slowly but surely we're getting back to that place in time where we're actually able to just enjoy adventure story games with friends or family, right? And I think that it's a good thing that we're getting something like this, because we don't get a lot of them, and the fact that we're getting this is nice.
So that's true, man. Actually, you know, that's a good segue to end the video. You know, getting an action adventure co-op experience, and that's what it is, guys. You'll see more from us as we go along. Go ahead and check out more stuff that we have. It's going to be popping up soon, but leave a comment as well. What are some of your thoughts about what we're thinking about and what you're thinking about when it comes to this game? We appreciate you guys. See you soon.